Go when you are.
All right,
That was the voice of
Yes.
Nick, who is at
Hello.
News Talk 1010. We're just getting ready to go live on the air with them. And a couple of seconds, and we'll be getting into
Yeah, wait for the
questions and answers.
clock. The clock is the boss, Sean.
Is that right? Officially 9:35?
9:35 is when we come back. That's when the network joins us because we're on two other stations other than TikTok. We're in CKTB in St. Catharines
Oh, no
and
kidding.
also CJBK in London.
I did not know.
See, there you go. You're everywhere.
I now feel more special than ever.
All right, stand by, special person. Here we go.
Okay, and I see Paulie Smirnov's question. We'll get when asked, we will use that one on the air because it's always a good one.
Jerry Agar on the iHeartRadio Talk Network.
Andrew, good morning.
Good to have you along, and good to join once again Sean Shapiro, the guy I call the TikTok traffic cop. He's on TikTok on a regular basis in the mornings at Traffic Services, talking with people about traffic issues. So we dip in every once in a while, every couple of weeks, and have a conversation about traffic laws, procedures, and policies. Good morning, Sean.
Good morning, Jerry. How you doing?
I'm doing well. People are getting their motorcycles out again. I did it a few days ago. Was very happy to be able to do so. I see them every day now. So what's going on with motorcycles? I understand you're concerned.
Well, you know what? We're always concerned because as the season changes, people seem to forget that they exist in the winter, and then they come back and they're shocked and they've never seen anything like it before. They are back. Please be aware. We want motorists to pay attention, looking for those smaller and vulnerable road users. Very often, that single headlight looks like a car that's off in the distance. So paying attention is going to be really important to protect motorcyclists. And not all motorcyclists are bad. We see a lot of not so great behavior when it comes to speeding and noise, and it does upset many of the residents and motorists, but not all are bad. So please be careful around them.
Well, you're a writer, I'm a writer, and I sympathize and I like what you had to say, Sean, but I adopt the issue that people aren't going to see me and they aren't being responsible. Not that they hate me, but they just aren't paying attention. And so I think it's much, much more up to me than it is anybody else.
There's no question. I just like to make sure the messaging is out there to remind everybody that we as riders exist. But of course, riders need to be proficient and skillful. They have to assume that they're invisible and take extra action to ensure that they're visible by riding in the appropriate track, making sure that they're visible. I like to wear reflective clothing or clothing that has reflective elements in it. Anything I can do to help is going to make me a safer person. But defensive driving and being a skilled rider is huge.
All right, but I understand lately, and maybe it's because of the season and people are getting out there, there have been accidents and fatalities lately.
We have had a number of fatalities on the road, not specific to motorcycling, but just in general, we do see that. And listen, we need drivers, all road users, to be responsible, to make good decisions that are safe, pay attention to what they're doing, focus on the task at hand, which is driving, stay off their cell phones. There's so much to it, but also for pedestrians, people who are choosing to step out into the roadway using their cell phone. You got to be responsible for yourself as well.
Okay, and this is an interesting question because I have a two-wheeled motorcycle. There are increasingly more three-wheeled motorcycles out there. Do they require a motorcycle driver's license?
So it depends if it's something like the Slingshot that is actually more like a car. That has a special designation that although it's a motorcycle, you can drive it with a regular driver's license. If you're talking about something like the Polaris that has two wheels in front and it really is a motorcycle, that requires a motorcycle license that allows you to drive, or you can get a designation that is three-wheel only. So it depends on the vehicle, but there are two different ways to go. But the Slingshot's more of a car that you have to wear a helmet in.
Okay. 416-872-1010 and toll free, 877-518-5151. 877-518-5151. Here's Go Buck. What's your question?
Yes, morning, Jerry. Yesterday you said something about motorcycles being able to stop and hold on for a second or two and then continuing on without putting your foot down at a stop sign. And I wanted to know if you are required to put your foot down at the stop sign to be considered a full stop.
What he's
That's
talking about here, Sean, because yesterday I was talking about bicycle riders who you see them, they can maintain, they're stopped in one place. They're actually stopped. They just don't have to put their foot down. It's an admirable skill. And somebody wrote in and said he could do that on his motorcycle.
And I could do that on my motorcycle, and I used to do that all the time because it was a way of sort of competing with myself to practice my balance skills. As long as your wheels are not in motion, you're actually stopped. You're stopped. There's no requirement to put your foot down to make it a proper stop. That being said, it may not be a good move for someone who's practicing that because you might find yourself falling over.
Yeah, well, that's your own problem.
Yes, it is.
But what you're saying is the police officer, bicycle or motorcycle or car, you're looking at the wheels.
That's right. It's the motion. It's the movement of the vehicle. It's the motion. When I look at a four-wheeled vehicle or a two-wheeled vehicle, if there is a transfer of weight to the front wheels and then you rock back, come back to a balanced position, to me that is a stop. The wheels have to have completely stopped moving for it to be a legitimate stop.
All right, here is Joe from Burlington. Joe, go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm looking here. I'm at a 4-lane road, Maple Ave in Burlington. I've seen ambulances or could be fire truck come. People on the right lane, the approaching lane, pull way over to the right. I'm just wondering, is it safe, and what should we actually do? What does the law say about giving way to approaching emergency vehicles?
Okay, so if an emergency vehicle is coming with lights and sirens on, you are required to pull over to the edge of roadway or nearest curb. So in a situation where you're on a highway and it's divided, it would be a left or right curb to allow path through. And if it is a situation of a divided highway, it's to the right curb or edge of roadway. So
okay.
What you're describing sounds about right.
Oh, okay, yeah. So thanks for clarifying that.
Thanks for your call. I appreciate it. Here's a question that I think will be on a lot of people's minds because of the new regulations. I just got my check for my motorcycle tag from the government yesterday. With the new laws, do you require a physical sticker renewed on your license plate?
There are no stickers going forward. We, as the police, will be able to look up in the system to see if you're valid. So as long as you are taking on your responsibility and renewing it there, you're going to be good to go. There is a printed receipt that you can have. You can carry that with you to, especially while we go through this transition period. It's probably not a bad idea, but no physical sticker is going to be required.
So how is my car valid? Simply because it's already been registered, had stickers in the past, and I've never had anything where they took away my registration or anything.
So when you renew, and you still have to renew online, there's an MTO page. You'll go in, and the only difference is there's no payment process. So you still go in, enter in your driver's license information or your license plate information, the ownership information, and on their system, it's going to update in the back end, which we will be able to see as the police. And then if you are not valid, you'll be receiving a ticket for not being valid, and if you are, then you're good to go.
Somebody's writing, what about a bus that's out of service? Like if it's out of service, then you just treat it like any other obstacle and go around it and continue on.
A bus that's pulled over to the side of the road and out of service?
I don't know. It says a bus that's out of service.
But in what context? Like if it's just stopped at the side of the road?
I guess.
I'm not sure what the question is. If there's a vehicle that's disabled, whether it's a bus or any other motor vehicle, if occupying a lane, you need to safely go around it. So try not to be too close to it when you're trying to then maneuver around. Change lanes early to avoid that.
All right. Here at 872-1010 or 877-518-5151, here's Adam. What's your question?
Yeah, why did the police not confiscate the bicycles that don't have lights on them and just give the person a ticket and let them drive on again?
I'm sorry, why don't we confiscate people's property for not having headlights? There's no authority to do that. The requirement is to have a bicycle light to ride at night so they can get a ticket issued to them. And then at that point, they should not be riding at night as they move off.
There's no way you can stop them from doing it, right? Other than giving them a ticket.
If they choose to do it again, they are eligible for another ticket, but we don't have the authority to take away their property for that particular charge.
All right. Thanks very much, Adam. Somebody wrote to me yesterday. We were talking about bicycles, and I got a text message I didn't use on the air, but they said, My friend got stopped by the police for something that he had done on the bicycle. He didn't have any ID on him, so they couldn't identify him, and they just let him go. Is it true that if the police have a legitimate reason to stop you, first of all, and a traffic offense would be one, that if you can't identify yourself, you can be taken into custody and taken to the police station until you can prove who you are?
That is correct. Whether you're driving a motor vehicle or a bicycle, you are required by law to identify in Ontario. You are not required as a cyclist to provide a driver's license or identification. You are required to satisfy the officer that you are who you say you are. So providing your name, date of birth, address, and so on, so that we can make reasonable checks to satisfy ourselves that you are who you say you are. If we are not, you could be arrested. If you refuse to identify, that could be an arrest situation and taken into custody for that purpose.
How often do people refuse to identify themselves?
Not very often. I in my 10 years as a police officer and my years prior to that in different capacities within the service, I've never been involved with someone being arrested on a bicycle.
All right. So, a couple of questions coming up when we come back. Mike from Toronto wants to know if bicycles can ever go on the sidewalk. Be ready to answer that one.
Sure.
And if somebody's following you too close, is a little bit of a brake check illegal? That's coming up on the iHeartRadio Talk Network. It's 9:45.
I'm just going to put them in the background. We can jump on some other stuff while they go to commercial break. We have a few seconds before we come back. Let's see. This is so neat to have law enforcement on TikTok. That's Jacob Juniper who says sends that message. And it's so cool to be here on TikTok. We've been doing this for about a year, going live Monday to Friday. We've gone through a different number of time slots. We started at 8 o'clock, then 9 o'clock. Now we're at 10 o'clock. We're doing some experimenting and trying to find out what's best for you, because this is really all about you. We're here so that we can answer your traffic and police questions, dispel some of the mystery, because there's so many things that people don't quite get. And it's understandable, because a lot of us grew up thinking certain things were law because mom and dad told us. I grew up thinking that you can't have your flip-flops on, you can't drive barefoot, that you can't drive with the interior light on. These are all things that just aren't true, at least not in Ontario. A lot of our laws are things that people believe because they saw it on TV. And when you watch a show from the LAPD and they talk about laws in Los Angeles, then that's going to be California law, not Ontario law. So that's a story. That's a story. Just going and looking over, we got Andrew McNaughton coming in from YouTube with good morning. Tracy Bell, good morning, everybody. You're coming in from LinkedIn. We got Kayla Jaconis coming in with greetings and salutations. And Rob Baker, who says, scary that people don't know what to do if a bus is pulled over to the side of the road. You know what? There may have been more to that question that we missed, but it is always interesting to get random questions on the internet, and I love it. I love it because it gives us a pulse of what people are wondering, and if they don't know, we need to tell them. Okay. Question here says, can I call the police for a cop going fast without his lights on? I love this question because, again, it's something that deals with the fact that many people don't know that police are allowed legally to go faster than the speed limit, and they don't require their lights to do it. Turning on lights and sirens are for traffic clearing. It's to direct someone off the road specifically so that we can get to where we're going. Problem is, when we turn those lights on and they are in front of us, we may not want to pull them over, and they do weird things like slam on the brakes. And that's dangerous. We need to, and very often need to get to where we're going without notifying the world and causing them to randomly react. And that's what it is. It's random. You never know what you're going to get. We just talked about with Jerry Agar about whether you should pull over to the right or to the left when you see lights and sirens. Many people just stop. Anyway, very dangerous. But it is a valid and interesting question. For no reason can cop pull you out of the car. For no reason? I don't generally pull people out of a car unless there is a reason. I make demands for roadside sobriety tests, for roadside screening tests, for alcohol. There's a ton of reasons why you might be asked to get out of the vehicle. But pulling someone out of the car, I don't know where you're going with it. Cop put wrong license number on my ticket. Well, that could be something you could bring up in court. May or may not get you off the ticket, but it could. You certainly can bring that up. Mistakes do happen on occasion. We are human. They may have the correct information written elsewhere, but who knows? Are you allowed to drive ex-police cars? Sure, they just can't say police all over them and have lights and sirens and stuff. What if I see a cop roll a stop sign? that is up to you what you do. We still are required to stop for stop signs. If you are so inclined, you can certainly make a complaint. But that's what should you do? You should probably just continue with your day. Just saying. Only because if you see someone run a stop sign, by all means report it. They're all on camera. So let's see here. Am I allowed to lower my car? Yes, you can do so safely and legally. Too low is too low and could be considered unsafe, so make sure you're doing it with a trusted mechanic for advice on how to do that, and make sure it's done so that it's no contact and with suspension body frame and so on. Because if it's done illegally, you are looking at being considered an unsafe vehicle and taken off the road. We're going back to News Talk 1010 for another segment. In just a few moments, Jerry will come back.
We're coming up in about 30 seconds, actually, Sean.
30 seconds, awesome. All right.
I know, our voices just pop out of nowhere. It's like we're like some sort of being or something, you know?
Omnipotent voice from above, yeah.
Thou shalt not speed, thou shalt not break any of the traffic laws.
It's awesome. What's going on here? We got Rob Baker wants to know if there's a feud between the police and criminal defense lawyers. No, everyone's got a job to do. You know, we do our job, they do theirs, and it's all friendly to some degree.
The Jerry Agar Show is on the iHeartRadio Talk Network.
And Sean Shapiro is with us with Traffic Services in Toronto. He's on TikTok at Traffic Services, answering questions each morning. And every couple of weeks, we dip in and add the radio show to the TikTok show. I call him the TikTok traffic cop, Sean Shapiro. Thanks for being with us again. And here's a question. So I'm out there, and I'm motoring down the highway, and I'm doing everything right. But somebody has decided he wants to tailgate me for whatever reason. Is a little bit of a tap on the brakes so that he freaks out and backs off legal?
Tapping the brakes to illuminate your lights is different than a brake check where you heavily depress your brakes. Hitting the brakes to cause a collision or cause the other driver to divert or avoid collision, that could be criminal. That is serious. If it's just tapping the brakes, not necessarily, so illuminating the lights to say, hey, back off, is a little different, and that would not be a problem. But listen, when someone
Sean, I would never slam the brakes on because he might hit me from behind. That's counterproductive.
You'd think that would be logical and everyone would understand that, but many people do try and send a message by hitting the brakes, and they don't realize that they are doing something that is criminal and or potentially criminal.
All right, but if my lights just flash for a second and the person, because it might be they don't even realize that they're
a wake-up message. Yeah. At the end of the day, that person is likely not paying attention to what they're doing, and you don't want to be anywhere near them. My suggestion, if someone's riding your rear, is you're already paying attention. Change lanes, get out of their way, let them continue on. You don't want to be anywhere near that person.
Here is Mike from Toronto. Mike, what's your question for Sean Shapiro?
Good morning, guys. Sean, what does the law say about the wheelbase of a bicycle? This is a two-part question. We have quite a problem in the city of Toronto, especially within the downtown core, with people riding their bicycles at above 20 and 30 kilometers an hour, sometimes whipping around on sidewalks down here. So what does the law say about the size of the wheel that is permitted to be on the sidewalks?
So once upon a time, diameter of wheel used to determine whether or not you were allowed on the sidewalk. That changed quite a number of years ago, and it's now age. So if you're under the age of 14 years old, you're allowed to ride on the sidewalk legally. If you're 14 or over, you may not, and that is it. So basically no one can ride on the sidewalk except children.
Okay.
All right.
So the second part of the question, sorry, Jerry, I just want to get this out. Are these e-bikes? We have quite a problem with these e-bikes whipping up and down sidewalks in and amongst seniors and pedestrians in the city of Toronto on the sidewalks. What does the law say about that?
E-bikes are completely prohibited from sidewalk use. They are covered under two areas. One, because they're still bicycles, but two, there's specific legislation that deals with electric bicycles. We also have a problem with people who modify them and turn them effectively into motorcycles, requiring license ownership and insurance. So there's a lot going on when you talk about e-bikes, but they are not permitted on the sidewalks at all.
Right. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. What about those electric scooters? They come along at a pretty good clip.
They do, and in the city of Toronto, they are prohibited. They can't be on parks, sidewalks, anywhere at all other than private property. E-bikes are different. There is legislation allowing them. There is a pilot in Ontario for e-kick scooters, but every municipality has to adopt it individually. In Toronto, it's not permitted, and people don't realize that if they add seats to those, they become motorcycles requiring license, ownership, and insurance. There's a lot going on. You really need to research these vehicles before getting involved with them because you might find yourself getting into trouble.
I'm not sure about this advice people are just sending me by text at 71010. It's follow-up here, Sean, to my question about touching your brakes if somebody's following too close. Several people have written in saying, well, if somebody's following you too close, just put on your four-ways. You can't just put on your four-ways driving down the highway for no other reason, can you?
Well, four-ways aren't a regulated thing. They're misused constantly, but there's no law saying you can't put your four-ways on. But putting your four-ways on doesn't really do very much. You're best off to get out of the way, get out of the path of this person who is doing whatever they're doing in an unsafe manner.
Here is John from Toronto. What do you think?
Hi, Jerry. Great listening to you every morning.
Thank you.
Just a few comments. Oh, by the way, I do miss Jim Richards. Just a few comments for Mr. Shapiro there. When a previous caller said that police have no authority to confiscate bicycles, is this true?
For a headlight offense? No, we wouldn't be able to.
Yeah, for a headlight or for any offense, something like that. Okay, so.
Yeah, you need to have authority to be able to confiscate a bicycle, and headlights or HTA offenses aren't there.
Okay, now my question to you is that us meaning the motorists on the road that have plated vehicles, I know for a fact that police officers can pull the plates on any vehicle if they deem the vehicle unsafe. But it wouldn't stand up in a court of law unless the police officer happens to hold an A-class license.
Do you have a question, or you've decided to host the show here?
That's right.
What's your question?
Oh, my question is why are police not allowed to take over these unlawful bicyclists that drive around like maniacs? That's what I'm getting at.
So being able to determine that a motor vehicle is unsafe, there are provisions for us to remove the license plate of a vehicle, deeming it unsafe, making it so you cannot drive on the road. That is very specific to motor vehicles. Being that there are no plates on bicycles, making it unsafe, there's no consequence. I can't take off a license plate that doesn't exist. There's a lot of people who argue that cyclists should require them. We're just not there yet.
All right, and you don't confiscate every car that you give some sort of moving offense to.
No, very specific laws to give us authority to impound a motor vehicle. So stunt driving being one of them, we would impound the vehicle with lawful authority for 14 days and suspend a driver's license for 30, but there is no equivalent for a bicycle. And additionally, when we talk about making a vehicle or determining that a vehicle is unsafe, it's saying that it can't continue on the road, and we're going to take back those license plates as agents on behalf of the Ministry of Transportation and return those plates to them, requiring the driver to go get to correct the issue, make it safe, and then apply for a license plate again.
All right. So what are people concerned about on TikTok this morning, Sean?
Oddly enough, we had a license plate question, and it was about, can I have the front my front license plate displayed inside of the front windshield instead of the front of the vehicle? There's a lot of people who are really sensitive about how their bumpers look for some reason, and the answer is no. You must display your license plate on the front bumper or front grille in a conspicuous place. It can't be behind the windshield. That's not a lawful location. It's also a dangerous place to put it because in the event of a collision, it could become a flying a bit of metal inside your car. Not a good idea.
All right, here is Brian from London. Go ahead, Brian.
Hey, gentlemen, I love this topic. I love it when you guys are on. I drive transport trucks, and I know there's a law of transport trucks being in the middle lane for a long period of time, like the distance between London and Toronto. How do we get the police to enforce at, I use the right lane. I always use the right lane, use the middle lane to pass and go back into the right lane. But there's more and more trucks just sitting in the middle lane for kilometers and kilometers and kilometers.
It's really based on signage. So on the 401, there'll be signs, and wherever trucks are not permitted, there'll be a sign designating where they can and cannot be. So middle lane is not just by a de facto rule saying you cannot be there. There must be a sign supporting that. But
that would have to be an MTO thing?
Well, and there should be signs in place where it's not permitted. And if there's no sign, then it wouldn't be a regulated situation. So, contacting the MTO, contacting the OPP to find out where things specifically are, because my understanding is it's simply based on signage, not a lane location, but a sign.
That's
location.
really unfortunate. There's a lot of cluster because trucks just choose to stay there. And I drive truck. I'm driving transport truck right now.
Right on.
Are you on speaker?
I have Bluetooth. Yeah. I got
Okay.
Good
All
to
right,
hear.
very much. Thanks, Brian, for your call. Sean Shapiro is on TikTok. What are your basic hours there on TikTok?
So we've moved our show to from 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock, and we do the extra large show. It's starting at 9:30 whenever we go on the air with you now. But we're Monday to Friday at Traffic Services on TikTok. We're also simulcasting on YouTube, Traffic Services Toronto Police. We're at Traffic Services on Twitter. We're even going to be on Instagram starting at 10 o'clock.
All right. Well, thanks for doing this.
Always a pleasure.
What's going on with all those abandoned boats in Toronto?
That is always fun. So we say goodbye to Jerry for another week or so. Caitlin, I saw your message, but I couldn't jump on when I first read it. Caitlin says, "Hey, Sean, big-time fan, first-time caller on the show. How loud can I listen to music in my car before getting a ticket? I love me some Guns N' Roses." Well, everyone loves me some Guns N' Roses once in a while. Now, the deal is that it really depends. It shouldn't be so loud that everybody on the street is listening. Now, the offense for unnecessary noise applies to your stereo, your horn, your tires, your exhaust system, whatever that is unnecessary. Now, it's not unreasonable for us to hear the music. It's going to be unnecessary when we're, I guess, feeling the music. It really depends, and it's going to be somewhat subjective. It depends on what the officer who is making the observations notes and sees or hears in this situation. Rose Sigia says, "Good morning. Is there a statute of limitations of a ticket going to court?" It's a great question. Now, normally, a traffic ticket should be seen within a year. Now, obviously, the world has had some interesting events. We've, dealing with the pandemic, things were extended. There were basically the 11B applications saying a year were, I think, extended to 2 years. I don't know where they sit right now, if they've been extended further because of the backlog. So the answer is you need to check with the courts to find out what the current acceptable time frame is. But it used to be on average 1 year, and now there's been some extensions, and I believe it was 2. Okay, I'm just going to hit the button to go live on Instagram because they deserve attention too. And we're just getting connected there. We only have an hour, so we don't do the extra large on Instagram. We just do the extra large on TikTok and YouTube and Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook, all the other places. For anyone who's just tuning in, my name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police constable with the Toronto Police Service here in Ontario, Canada. This is Ask a Traffic Cop. It's a normally 1 hour long show. Now, today it's an hour and a half. It's where we answer your traffic and police questions live on the internet. We've just been joined by folks coming in from Instagram Live, but we are broadcasting on YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok. TikTok's our mainstay. We have thousands. We have actually over 500,000, 563.7 thousand followers on TikTok. It's absolutely amazing. Something to talk about. Paying the bills. It's not really paying the bills, but it is an important message. It's a Vision Zero enforcement team. We talk about where they are in the city of Toronto every day. And today, April 7th, they are in the divisions of 13 and 53. Well, that's great. What does that division really mean to you? Well, those are the neighborhoods of Yorkdale, Glen Park, Briar Hill, Wychwood, Oakwood, Vaughan, Lawrence Park, Yonge and Eglinton, and Rosedale. And that usually means a lot more to the people who live there than just the number of the police station that resides and polices or covers that area, services that area. If you want to ask questions, please use the Q&A function on Instagram Live or TikTok. If you are watching on any of the other platforms other than Twitter, you can just use the regular comment section. We're going to see your comments pop up, and we would love to interact and answer your questions. If you're watching on Twitter, I do apologize. The Twitter interface is not working properly, so we don't see your questions. If you're watching there, please switch over to YouTube. You can get us at Traffic Services Toronto Police, and you should subscribe because we're approaching that 1,000 mark. If you're on Twitch, at Traffic Services. If you're on Facebook, Traffic Services. Where else? LinkedIn, it's under Sean Shapiro or VoiceOver Cop because we haven't got a page yet for traffic services, but you should follow Toronto Police on LinkedIn if you're watching. A lot of things to talk about today. Obviously, we're answering your traffic and police questions. I also want to talk about the fact that we are hiring. If you are interested in becoming a police officer with the Toronto Police Service, you need to go to our website. That is www.torontopolice.on.ca/careers. I said that very quickly. I'll slow it down. www.torontopolice.on.ca/careers. On there, you will see all about becoming a police officer, all about civilian opportunities as well. We're hiring all sorts of different jobs. Want to have a career with a fantastic organization? Then here is your opportunity to make a change and come on over. We'd love to have you. Let's see here. We have a question. Henry said that this was a great topic, and I think you jumped in on Facebook when we were talking about trucks with Jerry Agar and his caller. Andrew McNaughton says that was great. You know what? Jerry Agar and the relationship we developed with Jerry and his show, Nick and Becky, they're just awesome people. And it's always a pleasure to be involved through different means. They actually approached us and said, we love what you're doing on TikTok. We want to bring it to the community in Toronto on the air. And it's just been great. We've been doing it for a long time now. It's a regular gig. I love it. What's going here? What happens if car is impounded for stunt but driver can't afford to get the car out? That's a question from Rob Baker. It's actually a very good question. He wants to know, does the car get destroyed? No. What happens is if your vehicle is impounded, not necessarily because of this, but if it's taken to a pound and you never go pick it up or you don't have the money to pick it up, eventually the cost of the towing and impound will be larger than the value of the car. And many people say, well, I'm not coming to get it. My understanding of the laws surrounding it is that the towing and impound lot can apply to take ownership of that vehicle, and they sell it off to recover their costs. They get a lien, I believe. I believe it's a lien. But you know who's going to be here? We have Sergeant Murray Campbell, not Melissa Campbell. Sergeant Murray Campbell may just join us in a little while, and we can revisit that whole what happens then. Okay. What is this? Can someone be in the back of a truck Can someone be in the back of a truck if all the seats are taken? So Andrew wants to know, I don't know if you're talking about pickup truck or any kind of truck, but everyone in Ontario as a passenger in a motor vehicle must occupy a seat with a seat belt. Now, if the vehicle was manufactured with seats that didn't have seat belts, but they manufactured those seats, then they would still be able to be in there. But you couldn't just sit on the floor or in the flatbed of the vehicle. Big Jeff Fresh now, 2 days after his birthday. I think we're just going to have this as a new calendar, counting days until Jeff's next birthday. He says, good morning. Let's see here. Tracy Bell says, hey, Sean, is there any indication to police, apart from doing certain checks, that a specific vehicle is equipped with an interlock device? I've always wondered because it seems like it would make things safer for everyone. So when we were to run or check a vehicle, it would come back to say that the vehicle was, not that the vehicle, but the driver requires interlock. Less so about the vehicle. I don't believe there's anything that sticker required or announcement to say that this vehicle has interlock and we should check. So there's nothing that I'm aware of there. But it is a good. Maybe we need a flashing light that says, "Hey, check me." Let's see here. Big Jeff Fresh counting up till next April 5th. Awesome. Okay. Let's see. What are we reading here? Okay. Abu Rehan says, hi, Sean, good morning. Is that okay if we use a mirror cam on our car? Could you please let us know? So the law, as I've read it, says that you are required to have at least one mirror to the rear. So you want to know if there's a mirror cam as an alternative to having a mirror? I don't think the legislation supports it yet. I have to sip water, excuse me. I don't know. I don't think that it supports it. I might be wrong. It does say clear view to the rear, and view by way of camera might suffice. I'm going to have to look further into it to be able to say for sure. At the end of the day, there are cars that are manufactured new from factory that have a camera instead of a mirror. So there must be some possible way to do it. I can't give you a definitive answer without crossing my T's and dotting my I's. Do cars have a horsepower limit? That is the question from Sebastian. And the answer is, I don't believe that there is any maximum. As long as the vehicle is safe for use on the road, I don't believe that there's anywhere in legislation that would restrict the horsepower rating. Good questions. I like these questions. But now I want to reread it to just be sure. Boop the Snoop, share the live. This is a request from our moderator, Q, who says, please hit the screen until your finger goes numb if you're watching on TikTok or Instagram. If you're watching on any other platform, please share it with your friends on your page. It helps us spread the word. Our goal here is to answer questions and make the roads safer in doing so. We also want to save you tickets. We don't want you getting tickets for things you didn't understand or didn't realize were against the law. So we want to help you. That's not to say that it's a defense. Just because you didn't know something was illegal doesn't mean you're allowed to do it. It doesn't. They say ignorance is no defense. But at the same time, our goal is to bring that knowledge to everybody. And I get to learn new stuff all the time when I get to read things I've never been asked. So I like these questions that try and stump the guy on this end of the microphone. I buy a used car. Can I bring it home with no plates? No. There is the ability, I should say, if you have plates that are not assigned to another vehicle, so they were on your previous vehicle, they're currently unattached, you can use those plates to bring them home, assuming you have insurance on that vehicle. It still has to be insured. There's no window of opportunity where you can drive without insurance. So if you, the best thing to do is finish or complete the sale at the ministry offices. Drive there, walk in with the previous owner, get it taken care of right then and there, get your new plates and drive home with your insurance and so on all in place. That would be the way to do it if you can do it. Otherwise, the option is that 6-day window with your previously or your unattached plates that you have lawful use to use. Is there a decibel limit for exhaust noise? So for the charge under the HTA for unnecessary noise, it's not based on decibel rating, it's based on unnecessariness of the noise. If you are talking about for a proper or improper exhaust, 74 decibels at idle is the maximum amount of noise, according to our friend Neon, who is a mechanic. But we don't get into that because we don't lay the charge for noise on the decibel ratings. We use the unnecessary noise charge, which doesn't require a specific decibel rating to lay the charge. It's based on necessity of the sound. And obviously, if there's a lack of muffler, we know it's improper or missing, and that would be a charge we could also lay. Would it be illegal to buy and drive a retired school bus and lower it? Well, the lowering is based on safety, so that's if it's safe to do that, then that may be possible. In terms of buying a retired school bus, yes. However, you cannot have certain colors. You have to paint it. The color is restricted. You can't obviously have the word school bus. You have to change the lenses. You have to take the stop sign off. But I know people who buy retired school buses for use in the camp setting. I've known people to convert them into campers. But again, there are rules surrounding that. Out of nowhere, I suddenly have static. I think it's all Instagram's fault, and we may disconnect if it continues to buzz in my ear. So if anyone's watching on Instagram and you'd like to have more than an hour worth of audience or viewability, I'm going to make up some words here, then join us over on TikTok, where we can just stream forever and ever without any of what's it called? Without any restriction. And of course, YouTube, which is a fantastic platform where we also have other shows and interviews that we post. So it's sort of the other, I think that TikTok is the best place to be, but if you're going to be somewhere else, you should also follow us on YouTube. Traffic Services Toronto Police is the account. John Hamlin, Master Technician, says, when TPS officers approach me about my knife, they always say, tuck it in your pants. I can't speak to that advice. I don't know what kind of knife you're carrying, why you're carrying it. Concealing a weapon is not permitted. If you're carrying it on a sheath, then you're permitted to. So I don't know what the advice is for. I don't know the context of that advice. But knives that are work knives, not concealing it is actually appropriate. If you're scaring people with it, that's a problem. Maybe not carrying it in places that are crowded is the best advice. Weapons dangerous. If you were taking it out, could be an issue. Everything is contextual. It all depends. Let's see here. Can cyclists be charged with more serious charges like careless or dangerous operation? There are charges that could apply to cyclists. Things like speeding don't apply to cyclists. But yeah, most offenses like failing to stop for red light or stop sign, disobeying, things that result in collisions. You can be charges can be laid in relation to those. Oh, wrong button. Okay. Leo wife, good morning. Leo wife is of course my wife, who occasionally gets to join and watch the show live from home when the children permit it. I hope you're feeling magical on this Thursday morning, and thanks for saying hello. My beautiful wife, who allows me to come to work and do this show. You have to give her credit, otherwise I wouldn't be here. Okay. Rob Baker says 10-inch butterfly knife, is it a restricted weapon? A butterfly knife is actually a prohibited weapon. Simply, regardless of the size, a butterfly knife or a balisong is a prohibited weapon listed in the criminal code, and that is something that you can be arrested for simple possession of. And Wakanda Forever wants to know, what do I need for a butterfly knife? You need to not live in Canada, because Canada won't allow you to have a butterfly knife. Training knives, dull training just for the purposes of training with them, so they have blades that are not sharpened, that would be legal, but that's not a knife then. Okay, let's see here. Cyclist. Okay, here's a great idea, and it's an idea that Q just said we should do, and it's a very good idea. So this layout, if you're watching on TikTok, there's a layout. It says Sean Shapiro, Toronto Police Traffic Services, and so on. If you like it, give us a happy face. It's taking a poll, not a pool. And if you don't like it, the sad face. We want to know what you think, because this is different. Change is not always easy, and we're playing with different things. Figure it's better than saying, hey, my name is Sean Shapiro and I'm a police officer, every 5 or 10 minutes to remind the room. Allows people who pop in and don't know who we are to very quickly ascertain what's going on here. I think that's cool. So let's see what goes on with that.
This is a lot better than the one before. We can actually read the chat, so we appreciate you as moderators.
Yeah, yesterday we didn't have that gray chalkboardy texture on the bottom, and everyone was really having a hard time reading it. And I say everyone, I'm sure it was everybody, but specifically the moderators are doing their best to try and weed through all of the questions and get you your answers. Now, moderators, thank you very much. Moderators are unpaid members. They are not members or police officers. They don't work for the service. They do help us out every day, and they've been doing so for a very long time. Thank you so much for everything you do. 46-3. I think we have a winner. There's support for this layout, so that's cool. Newfie in the 6 says, I love the new look. This is much better, from Tracy. Awesome.
But can we shift like the logo more to the left, because it's kind of not centered?
Yeah, your OCD is kicking in high gear. Mine too.
Sorry.
It's okay. I noticed it too, and I just wanted to get an idea, and it's a work in progress. We'll constantly do, and then I can I really mess with people. I do whoo. Wakanda Forever. Are you in Australia? We got here. He says, I don't know if he, she, they. I wish we had people like you, but for Australia. Well, I miss Australia. I have family in Australia, and I haven't been there in a long, long time. But to our friends down under, can I say g'day? I won't get into the whole shrimp on the Barbie business, but let's see here. And thanks, Rob, for correcting the spelling. Andrew says, does a license plate cover all motorcycle vehicles like trailers, does license plates cover all motorcycle? I don't know what your question is. Do you mean that can you have license plate covers on all vehicles? I don't know what you're asking. Andrew, please rephrase your question, because I'd love to actually answer it. Okay. What's the biggest lift that's legal? My understanding is 3 inches is a factory is the maximum factory lift or approved lift that you can have on a motor vehicle. That might be a body lift, but the lift options when you do that really has to be approved and considered safe. Otherwise, you may have issues. Hey, here's information that Q put up. It's the link to the Toronto Police website careers section. She uses the smaller version of the website, tps.on.ca/careers. Got it on screen there. And check us out. We are hiring. Oh, I got the wave of static. I really wish I understood why static occurred, other than to just torture me, because I think I'm the only person who hears it. If you can hear it, let me know. I'm curious. Do you hear the horrible whining static that I have in my ears? Or is it just me? Maybe it's not the phones at all. Let's see here. With tint, is it blocking 30% or allowing 30% light? Thank you, Sebastian, for asking. The answer is you're not allowed to block more than 30%. So 70% of the light must be coming through. And that is to make sure that we can see into the vehicle and that it doesn't obstruct your vision. A lot of people don't understand how vision works. But if you look at photography, or if you're interested in photography, it's kind of similar. The more light that comes through, the more you see. You make it dim, it's harder to see. And at night when you're walking to the bathroom, you step on things because you don't see it. That's because it's dark. So when you actually reduce significant amounts of light from coming in, it's considered unsafe. More than 30% would make your vehicle eligible to have your plates seized, returned to the ministry, and then you'd have to go and correct the issue and reapply. Mechanics actually have tint meters. They're required to, in order to verify that your tint is within the legal limits. Obviously, you can't have nothing on the front windshield. Save and except for vehicles that were manufactured before 2017, they can have a sun strip 3 inches or 75 millimeters from the top of the window or to the PS1 line, whatever happens first. Boy, this audio is just getting worse and worse. Folks that are watching on Instagram, do you love Instagram, or would you want to move over to the other place so that I don't have to hear this? I kid, but I don't kid. It's actually currently we're using 2 cellular phones in close proximity, and it's the Instagram phone causing the interference with the TikTok phone, which is why I'm complaining. I'm going to get off my soapbox now, but that's the issue. So hopefully we're moving into a situation in the not too distant future where we're going to be completely Wi-Fi, and this will become a problem of yesterday, not today, or the future. You know what I mean. Okay. Cyclist riding double stack and impeding traffic. Cyclists are required to stay to the right lane out of the way if they can. So if it's obstructions on the road that prevent them from being at the right side of the lane, then they are allowed to take over the entire lane because they have no other option. When it comes to riding double stack, as long as they're maintaining the flow of traffic, they can do that. Because if they can maintain the flow of traffic, they're legally allowed to be in that lane. If they're running slower than the flow of traffic and it's not unsafe to do so, then they are required to move to the right. And you as a driver need to give them a meter's worth of space as safety cushion. The 1 meter rule is in effect. Okay. Liam. Wakanda Forever says, my name is Liam. I did want to know. Thank you for letting me know. It's always nice. I have a number of followers or viewers, a number of members of our community, that's the better way to say it, who come in on a regular basis, and many of their usernames are confusing, and I have no idea who they are. So they often let me know, and now I know who many of you are, and it's great to know your actual names. Let's see here. What is this? Who do you consider an inspiration in your career? This is a question from Ashton Stein, my favorite Manitoban and moderator from Manitoba. So Manitoban moderator. Ooh, MM. Rob Baker says, my name is Rob. So my inspirations, I had many. My grandfather was served in the military in his young life, and that was inspirational. He had a life of service. He did many other things after the military, but I always thought that was inspirational. I watched Chips when I was a kid, and Poncherello and Baker, the two of them definitely inspired me. I also had a school resource officer when I was in high school, a couple of them that I became very friendly with, and they made a significant impact in my life and drawing me towards policing. But one of the bigger and more personal was my cousin, Arnie. He was a police officer. He was an FBI agent. And did I lose connection? It looks like I lost connection to TikTok.
You paused for a bit, but now you're talking about Chips.
Oh, well, now we've blacked out on our connection here.
You're still going.
Oh, it's a red light saying it's down. So if you say it's going, I'm going to believe you. Thank you for the confirmation. 420 people listening to me talk about my cousin Arnie. Yeah, so he was FBI. He was a police officer, a lawyer, and he was always the cool cousin, and he was a cop, and had all the great stories. Again, another inspiration. And there were so many good people that were in law enforcement that drew me to it. But I'm very proud to be a member of the Toronto Police Service, and you could be a member of the Toronto Police Service too, because we're hiring. www.torontopolice.on.ca/careers. Okay. Boy, this is annoying me that the connection is showing unstable. For whatever reason, we have a low status. I don't know. Our antennas are not jiving with the radio waves, and yeah, it's just what it is. And Big Jeff Fresh wants to clarify his name is Jeff. All right. From my driver's seat, can I take a breathalyzer? No. We don't. Well, what do you mean breathalyzer? Breathalyzer test is actually in the station, so we make a breath demand. If you're talking about a roadside screening device, which many people call a breathalyzer, more often than not, we're going to have you come out of the vehicle. We're going to have that test performed in front of the motor vehicle on camera. Could it be done? Yeah, I'm sure it could be done, but we want to record it. We want to make sure it's done safely. And if we have concerns with you being under the influence of alcohol, being behind the driver's seat is not a good place for you to do it. But yeah, let's see here. Can you put your license plate on your front dash? We covered that a little while ago when we were on the air with Jerry Agar, and no, it's not a lawful place to install it. It has to be in a conspicuous location at the front of your vehicle. Your windshield is not the front of your vehicle, and not behind a window, which would be very similar. Actually, this was it's Polly. This is exactly the person who we answered this for. I just didn't press the button to take it out of the queue. I went 30 over, no points. Is it going to affect insurance? Teddy, where are you located where that is no points? 30 over is most definitely points. Let's see here. I got to go to the points calculator. Points calculator. I think 30 over actually goes to 4 demerit points. 30, yeah, it is 4 demerit points, $220. It is most definitely an offense. Oh, Rogers went offline? People are complaining that Rogers.
I've been complaining about it since yesterday.
Well, I didn't realize it didn't come back. Q is suffering from a lack of Rogers. Maybe I'll have to. I got a call from Rogers saying, please come back to us. And I said, okay. But now I'm saying, why? Anyway, let's see here. So 30 over, you do have points, and any ticket for speeding or any moving violation can significantly increase your insurance because insurance companies don't actually care about points. They care about offenses and interactions. So there you go. Let's see here. Can we remove license plate stickers off cars? This is a question from Will, one of our moderators. If you have renewed under the new system and there are no there's no expiry, there's no stickers anymore. So yeah, you can remove them once you've renewed. I would leave them if they're currently valid just because it makes sense to me, but they're no longer going to be required. So taking them off once you renew online, which is quick and easy to do, then by all means you can remove them. Ryan Pinn, oh my goodness, ahoy, long time no see. It has been a while. Where you been doing? Where are you hiding? I know where I was hiding for a week, but where have you been? Okay. Let us see. How often do you initiate Part 3 proceedings? Do you mean for 104s, like for serious offenses? Whenever there's a serious offense. So stunt driving, automatically drive under suspension, anything. Minor tickets are minor tickets, but when you start getting into certain offenses that have no set fine, they're automatically going to be Part 3 or 104s. Okay. Oh, if the officer doesn't show you the speed gun, do you just go by word of mouth what they say and you know you weren't going fast at all? So Ghost 303 asks that 3-part question, so I've only put the first part up. And you said one of two, but it ended up being 3. Anyway, You are not required in Ontario as an officer to show the speed measurement device to the person you're charging. It goes into our evidence. We write down what we said. And that device is for confirming our suspicion, our observations of what we believe to be seeing. So when I see you speeding, I estimate your speed. I confirm that with my speed measurement device. I don't rely on it entirely. It is something in combination with my observations. And I don't have to show it to you. That being said, if I've got it with me, I very often would show it just to make it easier. Again, we make evidence, we write it down, we present that evidence in court. If you don't believe it, and you think you're being wrongfully accused, or you think there was an error, you have the ability of disputing that in court. Or take it to a prosecutor. Yeah. What is this? What is this question here? What are some rules you think needs changing? I think we need more rules. I think we need, actually, I honestly think we need speed cameras everywhere, because we have a major problem where drivers don't understand or care about what the speed limits are. So because we don't have enough officers to catch everybody, I think we need some cameras to help along those lines. Now, right now, speed cameras don't affect a driver's license. In Australia, they do. You get points on your driver's license, and it's the owner of the vehicle who gets the points. Maybe we need that here as well, because we need to do something to make our roads safer. How loud can my car be? Not so loud that it is unnecessary, whether it's a stock vehicle, brand new from the factory, or a modified one. If your driving behavior is creating unnecessary noise, that is a problem. And people say, well, who's it hurting? It's just a noisy car. I like the way it sounds. Well, you might be the only person who likes it. And there are people who live in communities and want to sleep at night in their communities, and your vehicle is keeping them awake, or might be keeping them awake. Maybe yours isn't, but maybe somebody else's is. In any case, it's not legal, can't be too loud, can't be unnecessary. What is this? Boom, boom. Oh, is a muffler delete illegal? Yes, a muffler delete is illegal. You are required to have a muffler, a resonator. Your exhaust system must be, wrong button. You are required to have that equipment. So not having it would not only be a ticket for unnecessary noise, but for having no muffler. What's this? How come the speed cameras keep moving? They have fewer speed cameras than they have issues with speed, and they generally put them in one place. I think 50 cameras or how many are currently being rotated in the city of Toronto. I believe they're adding more. They're in the process of adding more. So they move them to address areas that need addressing. Yeah, it's a good reason. Okay. Boy, the extra large episode really feels like an extra large episode today. We've been speaking for an hour. The first 30 minutes was with our friend Jerry Agar on News Talk 1010, but now we got 30 more minutes. The reason we did that extended instead of just doing an hour is we didn't want to cut into your time and your ability to get your questions answered. I love your use of the word fewer. What was the context? Wait, tell me what I said. If it was really good, I want to know. Let's see here. Do you ever do undercover police work? I think that my potential as a undercover officer is done. I think with 560,000 followers on TikTok and the fact that I get recognized on a regular basis in and around the city of Toronto, I think that I would be fairly ineffective as an undercover officer. But maybe if I got all long hair and grungy, I could hide in plain sight. But maybe not.
Just don't call me when you go through drive-thrus.
Yeah, there you go. How can you volunteer with cops? A great way to volunteer with the police. Actually, there's a number of ways. You can join the auxiliary police, which is exactly how I started with the Toronto Police Service. I joined the auxiliary program, which is by far, at least in my opinion, the best way to volunteer in your community. You take a course, you're trained over a period of weeks in the weekends and evenings, and you learn the basic understanding of the law as it will apply to you as an auxiliary officer, some self-defense. You get to learn how to use a baton and handcuffs and so on, because you're going to be put in situations where you are out in the public representing the police in a uniform. Fantastic. Even when I started, it was also driving training. That might be different now, but again, great way to volunteer. You can do that by going to www.tpsf.ca. www.torontopolice.on.ca/careers. There's a tab for uniform, which is police. Then you have civilian, which covers, parking enforcement officers, special constables, divisional special constables, court officers. What else? And then you've got all sorts of, network and administration and legal sections. We got tons of jobs. We even just did a hiring for mechanics. There's also a tab for auxiliary officers. So check it out. That would be the way to go and volunteer with us. And there's also non-uniform volunteers, adult volunteer program. There's a YIPPY program, Youth and Policing Initiative. That is like not summer school, but a summer program where youth can apply and work with the police. Lots of different ways to get involved with us. What do you think about the German Autobahn? The Autobahn was very interesting to drive on. I did in a little Renault hatchback. It was scary. And I'll tell you why it was scary. Because I was in a Renault hatchback. It did not go as fast as every other vehicle. I was being passed like I wasn't moving. And it was because the vehicle it had no more go to give. I think that in the populated areas that have a speed limit between 80 and 130 kilometers an hour and are designed to accommodate those speeds, I think that, and are heavily enforced, by the way, they really do. If you're speeding in an area that has a speed limit and you're exceeding that speed limit, you are going to get a ticket. You are going to get a ticket. If you go into the areas that are completely, do whatever, they're designed to accommodate that higher speed of whatever is the limitless, the no ceiling speed. And when collisions occur, the debris fields are enormous. People die on the Autobahn when bad things happen because collisions at high speed have a much higher chance of serious injury and death. It's just physics and the reality of life. So when people say, the Autobahn it works there. Oh, another thing to really consider is the threshold for getting a driver's license in Europe, I believe, is much higher than getting a license here. Some would say that it is possibly too easy to get a license here. Why are some police allowed to go a bit over the speed limit? So police in Ontario, and I assume it's similar everywhere else, are permitted to exceed the speed limit because that's part of what we do. We need to get to places quickly when we're responding to calls. We also need to be able to go faster than the cars that we're in the pack with, because we need to see what's happening in front of us. If we're waiting for people to pass us, they're never going to break the rules because they know we're there. They're passing us. They see us. We need to catch up to the offenders ahead of us who are speeding or using their phones and so on. So it allows us to observe the behavior so we can then enforce the rules. Kids want to say hi, Daddy. Well, hi, babies. My kids are watching. Hi, guys. Miss you. I can't wait to come home and then pass out on the couch while you snuggle with me, because that's what happens. I watch TV for a little while, and then the TV watches me. But I get to do it with my kids, so I appreciate that. I get up really, really early, so I get really, really tired really, really early. Let's see here. We had, what is this? Can you pull a dealer plate from a car without a muffler or unsafe? It depends if it's a mechanic's plate, if it's it depends. A dealer plate would suggest it's a car ready for sale in the inventory, not something that's being worked on or tested. So different situations call for different actions. Is it 21 or over 21 for driving with a little alcohol? At 21 or below, you're a novice driver, so you can have zero. You must have zero blood alcohol content, regardless of what status of license you are driving with. That includes a G. If it's once you're over 21, so you're 22, you are now falling under the regular range of alcohol, and you can have no more than 0.05 alcohol to legally operate a motor vehicle, and 0.08 before it becomes criminal. Now, that's not to say you're not impaired before those numbers. You could still be arrested for impaired operation, even if you have alcohol in your system that's lower than the legal limit for driving. It's because people handle alcohol differently. Everyone handles alcohol differently, as well as drugs. Now you can be under the influence of marijuana legally, but not driving a vehicle legally. So there's different things that come into play, and we have those magical experts in the field of drug investigation or drug recognition to lay charges when it's drugs. And that's not just marijuana, it's all drugs. Do speeding tickets start at 15 over the limit? No. You can be charged for any speed over the speed limit. Speeding occurs the moment you are going above the posted speed limit. So that includes 1 kilometer over. I would say it actually counts for less than 1 kilometer over. As long as you're over, you are technically speeding. Maybe not the fraction of a 1. In any case, are you going to be charged for 1 over? Probably not. But if you were charged, it is the same as doing more over. The difference is how much money the fine is going to be. Okay. So, and what does an insurance company think of 1 over? Well, again, I keep saying 1 over, but nobody's getting charged for 1 over. It is up to the officer as to what they're going to charge you for. Maybe they would charge you for 2 or 3 or 5 over. Are there any civilian consultants in the Toronto Police? Yes, we do have civilian consultants, and one of my friends who was a civilian consultant just left and went to another service, another area of it's not even a service, another government agency. So we do have civilian consultants in different areas. He was in technology, but yeah. Windshield with some cracks, no obstruction, is it okay? It depends on the officer who's making that observation to determine whether or not it is an obstruction or not. You may think it's okay, but they may not. One of the things with cracks in the windshield is when light hits it and it sends light scattering in different directions and may blind a driver. Yeah, it may result in a charge. If you have cracks on your windshield, you should get that corrected. Okay. Ouch. I just bumped my elbow. The not so funny bone. Okay. I don't know who's talking in the background. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
thank you.
Everyone says hello. Okay. What is this? Why does the question is, why does Ontario urge drivers to drive at 120 kilometers per? I don't think that's a factual statement. The speed limits are the speed limits. You are encouraged to drive at or below the speed limit, not above it. So I'm not aware of a highway in the province of Ontario that has a speed limit of 120. If there is one, please let me know. I'd love to find out where it is. There's a follow-up here from the legend, and that is instead of posted speed limit, yeah, I don't know what this is. They followed up and said, instead of posted speed limit of 100 or fined with, why does Toronto urged? Yeah, I don't think that you're correct in that statement. What about the window tinting ticket? It's there's the determining your vehicle is unsafe, where we would seize your license plates, return them to the ministry, preventing you from driving further. That would be if you had unsafe levels of tint, which was more than 30%. If you're simply obscuring the interior of your vehicle from with a color coating or reflective coating, because reflective is illegal as well, or if you've tinted at that point, just obscuring the interior is a ticket. It's $110. Can you be deemed unsafe with dead shocks? Yes. If your shocks are not functioning, I think you can be. I say I think because I have not laid that charge, but I believe that you can, because that vehicle could have a loss of control. You're no longer having the ability of keeping your wheels on the road necessarily. Neon may jump in with saying, yeah, it's determining the vehicle's unsafe. My understanding is it would be unsafe. Is there a charge if noise is coming out of the engine? Yes. Any noise coming out of your vehicle, whether it be stereo, tires squealing, anything unnecessary. Okay. Is a catback exhaust legal? Catback means after the catalytic converter to the rear of the vehicle. If it's a lawful, if he has a resonator and muffler and it's functioning and legal, then it's legal. If it's a straight pipe from the catback, then it's illegal. So it really depends. It's not so easy to say legal or not legal. It depends if the thing you're putting on the vehicle the part, is in keeping with the regulation. It's Brianna says, I had. It's Donna says, to be a sketch artist, do I need, and then there's no, I don't know what would be required to be a sketch artist. I don't know.
Permit if they're going to be a sketch artist on the side of the street to do art for people that pass by.
Oh, so not a police sketch artist, but you're saying a busker? Would you be considered a busker if you're a sketch artist? Yeah, I believe you need a permit to do that, but I don't know. That's not an area that I'm familiar with. I know that the TTC has busker licenses for operating on their property, but I don't know about the city streets. Not something I've ever dealt with. What is this? Why don't you ticket DVP drivers that are going 100? Well, I don't know if you've been in Toronto recently, but it's Miroslav. What's going on? Is my friend who usually talks to me on Twitter at VoiceOver Cop and Traffic Services, but occasionally joins us here on TikTok. Welcome. So we do. It just depends. Usually when someone's doing 100, there's someone doing 120. So they tend to be the focus of the attention. But you could certainly get a ticket for 100. Just there's far too many people going 120. So why stop the person doing 100 when you have your pick of the litter doing 120? That's not to say you won't get a ticket. It just means I tend to go for the fastest moving vehicle. Okay, let's see here. Checking the time, 18 minutes to go. What makes police think they're mechanics? I think you meant to say mechanics. We don't think we're mechanics, although there are police officers that I work with who are licensed mechanics. They happen to, they came to this job after qualifying and maintained their license. That being said, I don't have to be a mechanic to identify major defects and flaws in motor vehicles that deem them that make them unsafe. That is generally something called common sense and obvious observations or observations of obvious issues. And what we do is we tell them, when we take the license plates and deem a vehicle to be unsafe, well, see, that's when you get to go to an actual licensed mechanic for them to confirm our suspicion and say that you are safe or unsafe. And then you can go reapply for your plates with that confirmation from a mechanic. And obviously, if it's a mechanic who is unlawfully issuing certificates of safety, then we do those reviews on their shop, and then they lose their license. That can happen too. But we don't think we're mechanics when we're not. I phone a friend when I need one. Can I ride legally with my 2020 sticker I renewed online and waiting for delivery? Well, it depends what you're waiting for delivery for, because if you renewed in Ontario, there's no sticker coming in the mail. Unless, of course, you're driving a commercial motor vehicle. There are some stickers being issued, but in a light truck or passenger vehicle, there's no sticker coming. Your renewal was online, and you have a receipt. That's it. Okay. Is this Alicano? Says, I love the cops, I love the officer. Well, thank you very much. We love the love. What are your thoughts on the new Tesla wheel? You mean steering wheel, that kind of Knight Rider version looking thing? I've never, other than seeing it, I've never experienced driving with it, so I don't know. Obviously, if it's approved for use here, it must be approved for use here. They must have determined that it's safe. You know what? I'd like to hear from a driving instructor. We talked to the safe driver. It's Scott Marshall. He is the safe driver. He's a podcaster. He's a TikToker extraordinaire. He would be the right person to bring in. And we are going to bring him back for an episode. I should call him and see what he's doing today. Maybe we can film an episode of TPS Traffic Jam. What is that? Well, this is Ask a Traffic Cop. TPS Traffic Jam is our podcast where we have 2 episodes currently uploaded. You can get us wherever podcasts are available. Of course, you can watch the video version of it online on Traffic Services Toronto Police on YouTube. And he is a phenomenal person to ask. So that'll be a question that I will bring up for him. And if you want to know his answer, you're going to have to listen to the episode. That's just how it's going to be. Caitlin Graton, is it Graton? Gratin or Graton? I don't know how to. I just realized now I have no idea how to pronounce your last name. Rob Baker wants to know, is the podcast on Apple Music? Yes, it is. Well, Apple Podcasting app. It's available on Amazon, Spotify. It's hosted by what's it called? Anchor. And Anchor, then I take the RSS feed and I put it everywhere. So it's pretty much everywhere that podcasts exist. We exist. York Regional Police is in the chat. Hey, YRP, what's happening? Let's see here. So Caitlin, as I started to rabbit hole on your last name wants to know, do we need to remove our old stickers now on our plates? Mine says March 22, but I did renew online a few weeks back. Being that your new expiry date is that of whatever you renewed to, you can renew or you can remove your license plate sticker. It's no longer required to be there. Mine say 22 as well, so I'm like, I don't know. Gratin works? Okay, good. I like to be accurate when possible. Some names really throw me for a loop. I probably, it's gratin, not gratin. Okay, gratin. Now you're really throwing me off. It's even worse. What's that?
Sandwiches.
Oh, apparently there is spam. Why are there? We only have 200 people in the room. Maybe we only have 200 people in the room because of the spam. If you are spamming, know that I didn't even know you were spamming. That's because your behavior is not being monitored by me. I'm just carrying on answering questions. You are, however, making life difficult for the folks who want to be here and are trying to get their questions seen and heard and responded to. So please don't spam or you'll be asked to leave. Guman says, my friend doesn't have insurance. Well, hopefully your friend isn't driving without insurance, because driving without insurance, a motor vehicle without insurance, comes along with a range of fines. Yes, $5,000 to $25,000, and then you have the joy of possibly up to 6 months in jail. So don't drive without insurance, because that would make you a bad person. And I mean that with love. If you're driving without insurance, you're putting yourself at risk. You're putting anyone that you come into contact with in a negative situation. And you know what? If I got to pay, you got to pay too. So tell your friend that he's not being a good person. Okay, Graton. Okay. We're going down the rabbit hole of names. I could probably do a show just trying to pronounce names correctly. Okay. We already talked to Sebastian about this. If self-driving Tesla crash, who gets charged? Here's the deal. We don't have self-driving right now. We have driver-monitored autopilot, where a lot of the lane tracking is done automatically, but you're still required as a driver to supervise the actions of the vehicle. And if it does something it's not supposed to do, you need to take over. So you get charged. Just like if you're using your cell phone and you crash into a wall in a Tesla, because things happen, you are responsible because you are the person actually deemed to be driving. Full autonomy is not available yet, or full autonomous mode is not available. It's not available in Teslas here. Now I think there's some stuff on private property where you can test it out, possibly, maybe, but. Not permitted on the road.
I'm back.
I heard the bleep and I knew you had disappeared.
I'm back. It works now.
Oh, you have your Rogers is functioning again?
I'm connected. I don't have the hotspot anymore.
Congratulations. Congratulations. We can announce to the world their internet's working. Kevin Pierce says, what is the fine for loud music from vehicle? Tis the season. $110. For unnecessary noise. Doesn't matter if it's your exhaust system, your squeaky tires. When I say squeaky tires, if you squeal the tires, your horn, a PA system, and anything, any noise coming out of your vehicle. More often than not, that charge is lately less defect, more behavior. I need to refill my water. Yes, I'm running low. It's dry in here. Can I drift in a private property? No. Stunt driving is anywhere, private property or public. You cannot drift. It's stunt driving. You'll lose your vehicle for 14 days, your license for 30. Even if you don't have a license on private property and you're driving, we'll still charge you for stunt driving. Now, I will say this. We're not hiding out in the bushes on your property. In case you're checking, I've never been on your property. That being said, if you're getting complaints, your neighbors are calling, if we become aware of it, we're going to come check in for it, and you can be charged. So don't do it. The reason it's not legal is because it's not safe. That was the question there from there. There we go. And do police need to be on a public road to do a speed trap? It certainly makes response times easier, but can we be on private property? Absolutely we can. Can we be on a driveway? Absolutely. Okay.
Can temporary residents get a job at Toronto Police, or do we have to be permanent residents?
To be a police officer, you have to be a permanent resident. I don't know about temporary residents. I would assume you have to have the lawful ability to work. So if you have a work permit, you might be able to. That would be a great question for our employment office. You can reach them by going to our website, www.torontopolice.on.ca/careers. You can call them. I'm sure they would be happy to answer your questions. Actually, you know what? I'm pretty sure that I can't speak for them, but I know some people who are not citizens that were here. They came here for a specific work permit. So I'm assuming that you could be a temporary resident and with the option of possibly staying. But you need to check with the authority there. Ryan says, I love when people say police can't hide. That's entrapment. Yeah, people don't understand what entrapment is. They saw too many movies. They don't know. Rob Baker wants to know, do CPS motorbikes have laptops on them? And the answer is yes. In fact, I designed the mount for that motorcycle laptop. I designed it and printed it on my 3D printer as a test. And then we had that file printed by a third party. And that's what holds the laptops into the bikes right now. Apparently I need a hot tea because this water is not soothing. Can go-karts be driven on the road? No, they are not legal for the road. Excuse me. 8 minutes. We got 8 minutes. Charge for running a stop sign in a parking lot. Private property parking lot, no charge that we would lay. Now, there are certain things like TTC and Go Transit who have lots that have their own bylaws based on acts that support them. They could lay you a charge for running a stop sign on their property. But generally speaking, private property stop signs are not enforceable. That doesn't mean that you couldn't be held responsible for a collision that took place on private property. It's just that the specific charge wouldn't be applicable. But let's say you were doing, laps of a shopping mall, because people have done that. Maybe that's stunt driving. Maybe that is dangerous driving and criminal. So it depends. Cell phones in drive-through. Again, private property, drive-throughs tend to be on private property, not on public roads, and you cannot be charged for the using a handheld communication device on private property. It's not against the law. That applies only on the road. So if you're paying for your meal or having a conversation or holding the phone, you can't be charged. Can you film while at work to see what you do? This is me at work. I'm filming. I actually work in an office environment. This studio is my desk. When I turn off the camera, I'll still be sitting here, typing my next piece of work that needs to get done. So I don't go on the road. I was injured in a motorcycle collision a number of years ago, so I'm not currently cleared for the road. At some point in the future, I hope to get back on the road, or at least have the ability to go on the road. And you know what? Maybe we'll do some kind of thing. We'll do some, shadowing of someone who is actively on the road. Maybe get out with the motor squad and watch what they do. I think that would be interesting. I don't know what the chat is looking like, but apparently we've gone off topic. So what kind of stuff are we talking about that isn't policing? Chemtrails. Yeah, I don't think chemtrails are relative to this conversation, but, fill your boots. Let's see here. What is this from?
Can I ask one?
I would welcome that.
Okay. Can we have different colored fog lights? Like it's the yellow ones or blue ones or purple ones?
The rainbow lights are not permitted. Actually, in Ontario, the only color of light that you can project forward is going to be white or yellow. Back in the 80s or earlier even, fog lights were usually yellow. So that is a legal color, and white. That is it. That is all. Low battery. Did I really burn an entire iPhone battery?
Paused. It says it'll be back soon.
Yeah, it just said low battery, and I had to acknowledge that the battery was getting low. Apparently, if you stream for an hour and a half, that significantly. Maybe I need to update the OS on this. I don't know. I heard there was an issue with that. Tracy says, Where's Sarge? It's a good question. I thought we were going to have the whole gang here this morning. Our staff sergeant Paul is his last day in the office tomorrow. At least one of our staff sergeants. He's going to be elsewhere, and I was hoping he was going to hang out on the show for an hour with us, but he didn't make it. So I don't know where they are. That's the staff, and Sergeant Campbell never came by because I guess he's busy doing something, and Sergeant Kulik didn't come by. I'm really starting to feel neglected.
We don't exist to you. All your moderators are here supporting you.
I'm not knocking the support from everyone watching the show and everyone who's moderating the show. I'm only just digging on the sergeants who are neglecting all of us, not just me. All of us. I'm speaking on behalf of you when I say we're feeling neglected. When joining the force, do you need perfect vision? This is a fantastic question since we've been talking about employment and joining the service so much. You need to have, it's assuming things haven't changed, 20/40 uncorrected is the minimum vision requirements. 20/40 uncorrected binocular, and you have to have color acuity. You can't be color blind. So that's a thing. Let me go and see if that has changed, because now I am curious. Careers, current opportunities, uniform careers. Here we go. The sound, the audio, it's horrible. Okay, salary, benefits, minimum requirements. Here we go. You must be a Canadian citizen or permanent resident of Canada, be at least 18 years of age, be physically and mentally able to perform the duties of the position having regard to your own safety and the safety of members of the public, have successfully completed at least 4 years of secondary school education or its equivalent, noting that official transcripts and diplomas will be required, where education has been completed outside of Ontario, official proof of equivalency must be obtained. Be of good moral character and habits, meaning that you are an individual other people would look upon as being trustworthy or having integrity. In addition, you must have no criminal convictions for which a pardon has not been granted, possess a valid driver's license with no more than 6 accumulated demerit points, permitting you drive an automobile in Ontario with full driving privileges. Okay, I don't know. I can't pronounce things today. Okay. Have current certification in CPR and first aid by the time the offer of employment is given. Possess a valid OACP, which is the Ontario Association of Chiefs of Police certificate. Have a minimum of 20/40 uncorrected vision with normal color acuity. It doesn't say binocular there. So I don't know if binocular, being that both eyes must be that, is required or not, just because it doesn't say it. You must successfully pass the hearing standards as outlined by the OACP and be able to pass a security clearance as well as a background investigation, credit and reference checks. And it goes on to talk about other things. But that's it. That's the story. Perfect vision is not required. I myself had laser vision correction to get to the standard in order to be able to apply, because I was below that standard. And then I had laser and it was magical. Okay. Someone asking about diapers. They are concerned if they are going to be allowed to drive, I guess because of their diaper. I would suggest putting on a shirt. Let's see here. If you are interested in joining our Discord, there's a code on screen. That is our community where we hang out and talk. It's something that Q put together, and it's pretty cool.
Oh, it's because somebody had asked whether or not they could become a moderator.
And that would be the path to moderator, because there you would be able to find out about applying to become a moderator.
Speaking of diapers, at what time can we change kids out of car seats and boosters?
Okay. The question about boosters, so it depends. Each stage of whether or not they can be in a baby bucket, being a rear facing or a forward facing, that you're going to have to follow the guidelines for both the child and the manufacturer of the seat. Oh, we lost our folks on Instagram, and with their departure, so goes my interference. I really am questioning why I am on Instagram, because it really just is me being tortured. So the deal is that most people want to know when can they get out of the car seats altogether. So let me talk about that, because if you go and if your child is 8 years old, 80 pounds, or 4'9", legally they are meeting the standard to be out of a car seat, out of a booster. But it doesn't necessarily mean it is the safest thing to do. You can still be, in a booster longer beyond that and be safer. So there's a 5-point check, and it talks about, can you sit with your back flat against the back of the seat and so on and so forth before it is safe, regardless of what the law says. So follow the rules. You can check the Ministry of Transportation website for details about child seat requirements. I can pull it up really quickly because once upon a time I knew all these things off the top of my head, but I don't remember it because I haven't spoken about it recently. Child seat requirements, Ontario. Okay.
No. We're over by 2 minutes. Okay.
Yeah, we're good. Okay.
We're good.
What is this? Easy on vest, car seat things, transport. Okay, it's different. Fines and penalties. So much information. This isn't the seat I wanted. This is not the. Come on, where's it? Here we go. So rear-facing child car seat is for babies and infants up to 9 kilograms or 20 pounds. Obviously, follow the guidelines also in relation to your child seats because you have to be within those as well as the law. Forward-facing child car seats for toddlers ranging from 9 to 18 kilograms, 20 to 40 pounds. Booster seat for under the age of 8 with a weight of 18 to 36 kilograms, 40 to 80 pounds, and they have to be under 145 centimeters or 4'9" tall. So that's according to here. But I have a car seat for my kids that will take them till they're 100 plus pounds. If I want them to be the safest they can be, regardless of what the fact that they can be out of it. Now, additionally, I will say that we suggest the rear seat until your child is 14 years old. And people say that and they go, 14? I'm like 6'5" and 14. That may be so, but 14 and 6'5" is fine. 13 and 6'5", stay in the back seat. It's safer, and that's really because we're told that skeletal development hasn't completed, and that it's just safer to be farther away from airbags and crumple zones. And it is safer. It's just not cool. It is what it is. Okay, we got a whole bunch of stuff talking in here. It's so side conversations happening on there. At what point can we use a handheld device while driving? It's actually a really good question. We'll use this to end the show. You can't touch your cell phone while you're driving, save and except for a simple answer or hang up. That is to swipe or press a single button to answer or hang up. Now that could be on your Bluetooth device if you're there, on your or on the phone itself. If you are driving and you see an emergency, you're calling 911. In that situation, you can pick up the phone and use it. You're exempt, just like police, fire, and ambulance are allowed to use their two-way radios or a cell phone to communicate with dispatch or police matters. That's legal. Rob Baker's taken out. Take care, Rob. So that's a permissible exemption. Either your police, fire, ambulance, ham radio operator, amateur radio operator, they're allowed to use their radios, and anyone can use a cell phone in an emergency situation. Obviously, it's still safer to use a Bluetooth or speaker device or integrate it with your vehicle, but there are those exemptions. You cannot use your GPS from the perspective of searching for addresses. Not while you're driving. Legally parked, not just in park, but legally parked. You can. So if you type in an address while you're in the parking lot or in a parking spot and then you hit go, then you can have it visible in that mode. But that's the only mode other than the phone mode that you can be using it. You can't be typing in the phone in any way, shape, or form. You can't even be using it to change the music. That's not a permissible use of your device. Anything that you are doing on the screen is deemed use. In fact, holding a phone, even if the battery was dead, is deemed use by the courts. I know. If it's on your lap, it's considered use, even if it's not on or in your hand, just on your lap. We've seen convictions for that too, because it's being determined that you are about to use or you've just completed using it. Things things that are interesting. And with that, I say, we're out. We've had a great show. It's been an extra large show. I need an extra large break from this extra large show. And we'll be back. We're back tomorrow, 10 o'clock until 11 o'clock. Yeah. And it's going to be a hard close at 11 because I will have an appointment immediately after that. But I will be back tomorrow, and then we'll be off for the weekend and returning on Monday to do another magical week of Ask a Traffic Cop. Hopefully, we'll be able to get you an episode of either a best of or an actually new episode of TPS Traffic Jam. You can follow us and download us anywhere that podcasts are available. And with that, have a wonderful week. Have a wonderful day. The week's not over. Getting excited. Getting eager for Friday. I started talking about it. Oh yeah, so let's talk about socials. It's Friday Junior. If you want to follow us on Twitter, it's Traffic Services. You can get us on Twitch, Traffic Services Toronto Police on YouTube. You can get me at VoiceOver Cop on Twitter, and any social media platform where I am at would be VoiceOver Cop. So come say hello, and we'll talk to you soon.